When the market goes up, you go up. When the market goes down, you don't go down. Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
Welcome to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Brad is a retirement and income specialist, primarily serving Springfield, but he's sought after nationally for his expertise in helping people secure their retirements. Mr. Pistole is a licensed life insurance professional in the states of Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas, and he specializes in working with people who are near retirement and those who have already retired with wealth management, income planning, and asset protection strategies.
Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
And now, here to talk with you about securing your retirement, your host, Brad Pistole.
Hello, this is Brad Pistole, your host, welcoming you to Safe Money Radio. I am an asset and retirement protection specialist and your one-stop source for capital preservation and strategic income planning. In late December of 2021, I did something I rarely get to do during a weekday. I went into a local fast food restaurant during breakfast and sat down to eat. Now, this particular location has a workstation over in the corner, and I needed to spread out several financial papers I was working on for some 2022 client reallocations. So I went over and sat in the corner, spread out all of my papers, and started to enjoy a quick bite to eat. Now, while I was sitting there, I noticed a group of senior adults who all walked in together, and it was obvious that they knew each other really well. This is probably where they meet every single day around 9 a.m. to eat breakfast and just catch up with each other. I was close enough to hear their conversations, and I nearly laughed my head off. It was truly entertaining. You see, one person in the group had recently had a birthday, and for her birthday, she and a group of her friends drove over to a neighboring state to take their chances at the casino. As she told her friends about the night of fun, I've got to admit, it was super entertaining. She told them about losing her cell phone and starting to panic. She didn't want to get up because she was red hot on her machine, and she didn't want to leave that machine. So a friend of hers went and reported it to the casino. This is what I heard her say to her group of friends. "Well, we went to the casino this weekend to celebrate my birthday. I played the same machine for 3 hours. I was up $800 and I was having a ball." And then she said something I'm sure many of you can relate to. She said, "I wish I would have taken out about half of that money when I was ahead." Then her friend said, "Well, did you win anything?" To which she said, "Well, let me just say this. I left with what I came with. But that's better than how my friend ended up. She lost quite a bit." And then another friend who was sitting close by to them said, "The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away." Their conversation was hilarious. In fact, she later found the phone that she had lost. She had been sitting on it the entire time. I listened to different members of their group talk about their various trips to the casinos in years gone by. They talked about how many times they had been way ahead, only to lose most, if not all, of what they had won. And then, of course, there were several stories about trips to the casino when they never got ahead at all. They lost from the get-go. They talked about how they would start off in the hole and how it would get worse as time went on. If you're planning for retirement, and your number one goal is to make sure you have enough money for you and your family to live on the rest of your life with no worries and no stress, no matter what's going on in the market, then you need to call into our show at 866-780-SAFE. We've been showing people how to keep their money safe and how to generate streams of income that will last the rest of your life for more than a decade. Thousands of people just like you who have listened to Safe Money Radio since 2010 have either read my number one best-selling book, Safe Money Matters, Finding Safe Harbor in a Storm-Filled World, or my new bestseller, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. These books teach people how to do something that most other advisors never even talk about. They teach you how to protect yourself from market losses and fees, and how to own accounts that will generate the most tax-efficient and often tax-free income that will last the rest of your life. You see, this is what truly matters when you retire. If you want true happiness, and if you want peace of mind, then you need to know that all of your basic needs are taken care of, and that you'll never have to worry about running out of money in the future. We can show you exactly how to do this. Just give us a call and request our free information. I will give you a copy of my Safe Money Kit and my Safe Money book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. Just request a free 1-hour financial consultation with me. When we meet, I will show you exactly how this works, and I'll give you my information absolutely free. It's changed the lives of thousands of people all across the country, and it will change yours. Our number again is 866-780-SAFE. Well, I must take a short break. This is Brad Pistole, and you're listening to Safe Money Radio. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
Did you know that your Social Security could be much higher depending on what option you choose for claiming your benefit? Social Security income is not as simple as some think. When should you take it? Should you only take your spouse's benefit while you continue to work? Deciding how to receive your Social Security benefit can make your head spin. Don't decide about your retirement without the facts. Call us now and ask for your complimentary Social Security guide at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back to Safe Money Radio. I'm Brad Pistole, a certified financial fiduciary and a safe money retirement specialist. Today we've been talking about rolling the dice with your retirement, and I want to share a story with you that I think a lot of you can relate to. At one of my farms, I don't have any cable, but I do have a Roku television, and it has a game channel on it. And more than I would like to admit, there's been several times when I found myself watching a particular game show for hours on end. One of those game shows is called Deal or No Deal. The show is no longer running, but it was hosted by Howie Mandel, and it was a very popular game show just a few years ago. I'm sure many of you have watched it before, but if you haven't, this is what happens on Deal or No Deal. The contestant gets to choose from 26 different briefcases, and the amounts of money contained inside each briefcase ranges from 1 penny all the way up to $1 million. Now, at the very beginning of the show, they choose one of the 26 cases, and it stays next to them for the remainder of the show. Then they start choosing one briefcase at a time from the 25 briefcases that remain. And their goal, of course, is to stay away from the $1 million briefcase. They hope they have chosen the $1 million briefcase, and they're hoping that's the one right next to them. Each time they pick a briefcase and the dollar amount is revealed, the banker, who has a hidden identity, will call Howie Mandel on his phone and give the contestant an offer to accept that amount of money to walk away from the game. The banker's offer will continue to get higher and higher as long as the $1 million briefcase is in play, because the banker does not want that contestant to end up with the $1 million prize. I was watching the show recently, and it was a special show. Howie Mandel and the creators of the show came up with a very creative idea. For each show that a contestant did not win the ultimate prize of $1 million, they added an additional $1 million briefcase to the list of 26 cases. And when I watched this particular show, there had been 6 shows since someone had won the $1 million. So out of 26 briefcases, 6 of them had $1 million in it. This contestant had a 6 in 26 chance of picking a $1 million briefcase. And as you can imagine, the banker's offers were much higher than normal. Let me tell you about the offers this contestant was given during this show. The first offer after she picked from one of the 25 briefcases was $22,000. Now, of course, there was no way she was going to accept that offer and walk away because there were still 6 $1 million briefcases on the board. The second offer jumped up to $173,000. Now, that's a big difference. She could have walked away with $173,000, but she chose not to. She said, no deal. And one by one, the $1 million briefcases that were on the board started to be revealed. But the third offer went from $22,000 up to $173,000, all the way up to $284,000. That's because of how many $1 million briefcases still remained. Now keep in mind, this school teacher had a chance to walk away with $284,000, and her family was screaming at her, "Take the money! Please take the money!" But that desire, the greed, the adrenaline rush took over. And she started dancing around, waving her hands in the air. And when Howie Mandel asked, "Deal or no deal?" she slammed the lid shut on the box and said, "No deal," which means the game continues. Now, you probably know what's going to happen next. By simple mathematical equations, she started to choose from the briefcases, revealing several of the $1 million cases, and each time she did, the banker's offer started to drop. The offers went from $22,000 to $173,000 to $284,000, which she didn't take. And then they started dropping. The next offer was $268,000, and she didn't take the deal. The next offer dropped to $239,000, and with her family screaming for her to take the deal, she didn't take the deal. Then it dropped down to $170,000, and her family started pleading with her, "Take the deal, run with the money. This is more money than you've ever had." Now keep in mind, this would have been more money than she had ever made in any year of her life, but she didn't take the money. You see, she was hooked. I'm sure many of you can probably relate to this. If you've had your money in the stock market, you've probably watched it grow from a small amount to a much bigger amount, especially if you're adding to it weekly from your paychecks. Maybe you even consider what's in that account to be a huge amount. And then the market does what no one wants it to do. It starts to fluctuate. It starts to go backwards, and then you face a decision. Do I take out some of the gains and pull them off the table, or do I let greed take over and let it ride? I'm sure every single person listening today has held on too long at some point in the past. And when markets do what they did in 2001 and in 2008, you realize that you're on the Titanic and you realize the ship is going to sink. And that's when desperation sets in. On Deal or No Deal, this contestant had offers of $22,000, $173,000, $284,000, $268,000, $239,000, $170,000, and $131,000. And she turned down every single one of them. She decided to take the risk, to ride the train all the way to the end of the tracks. And in the end, she ended up with a briefcase that contained $5. She traded $284,000 for $5. Now that, my friends, is no laughing matter when it comes to retirement. You see, today we've been talking about rolling the dice with your retirement. And whether you realize it or not, if your money is in the stock market or any other type of variable account in which your principal is not protected against loss, you're rolling the dice with your retirement money. And more often than not, People who play deal or no deal with their retirement money end up getting burned. That's why so many people continue to work past retirement age and end up struggling to have enough guaranteed lifetime income. Friends, if you're planning for retirement and your number one goal is to make sure you have enough money for you and your family to live the rest of your life without having to worry or have stress, no matter what's going on in the market, then you need to call us at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You see, we've been showing people how to keep their money safe and how to generate streams of income that will last the rest of their lives for more than a decade. Thousands of people just like you who have listened to Safe Money Radio since 2010 have either read my number one best-selling book, Safe Money Matters, or my new bestseller, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan with foreword by America's IRA expert, Ed Slott. These books teach people how to do something most other advisors never talk about. They teach you how to protect yourself from market losses and fees, and how to own accounts that will generate the most tax-efficient and often tax-free income that will last the rest of your life. Again, our number is 866-780-7233. This is Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I'll be right back after this informative message.
Brad Pistole recently completed the Retirement Income Certified Professional course through the esteemed American College of Financial Services. This elite financial designation sets Brad apart as an expert when it comes to asset preservation and lifetime income planning. The RICP program focuses on key retirement decisions like building your retirement portfolio, evaluating the various retirement risks, choosing the appropriate strategies for turning assets into income, choosing the appropriate time to retire, helping clients maximize their Social Security, choosing the appropriate annuities for your retirement income plan, choosing the appropriate tax-compliant distributions from tax-deferred company plans, choosing the best Medicare health plans for the retiring client, choosing the best way to deal with long-term care in retirement, ethical issues in retirement income planning, and managing the appropriate strategies for taking lifetime income. If you're concerned about the safety of your money, and if you want to make sure you have guaranteed lifetime income you can never outlive, make sure you're working with a retirement income certified professional like Brad Pistole. For a free financial consultation, call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. When you meet with Brad, he will give you a copy of his best-selling book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. That number again to call Brad is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back. I'm Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I am a capital preservation and strategic income planning specialist working with clients right here in Springfield and Ozark, Missouri. Today we've been talking about taking risks with your retirement money. If your money is in the stock market or any other type of variable account, you are gambling with your retirement money. Now, during the first part of the show today, we talked about a sweet, funny little old lady who went to the casino with her friends for her birthday. She started off red hot and built her winnings up to $800. And then she made the famous statement many gamblers make after they lose their money. She said, "I wish I would have walked away with what I had." But you know what? She didn't. And in the end, she ended up coming back home with exactly what she left with. And as she told this story to her friends, she was proud of the fact that she didn't lose any money. You see, when it comes to gambling, the majority of people don't come back home with the money they left with. They end up in the hole. That's why every single town or community that's known for having casinos also have gambling addiction billboards on virtually every street corner. You see, most people don't win, they lose. And when they lose, they become desperate. And desperate people do desperate and often unwise things. Gambling and losing leads to more gambling and more losing, and that leads to a devastating rabbit hole that you never want to climb into. I'm sure many of you listening right now might love a good night at the casino. You might consider it a fun or relaxing way to take your mind off a hard week at work. Many people do. But when it comes to retirement accounts and your future lifetime income, I can assure you, the retirement casino is no place for your money. When you open a 401k or a brokerage account and you give your hard-earned money to a broker, you are entering the casino. They are going to invest your money in the stock market and in things that fluctuate in value. And guess what always happens in the stock market? It will always go up and down. When it goes up, it will come back down. That is reality. And then at some point in your financial future, you see, you will have to make a very important decision. Do I continue with this up and down game of chance on into my retirement? Or do I take some of my gains off the table and walk away while I'm still ahead? Now, if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, and I've been hosting Safe Money Radio since 2010, you've probably heard me interview world-renowned economist Tom Hegna. And Tom will teach you exactly why it's critically important not to risk your retirement money in the 5 years before you retire or the 5 years after you retire. It's because of something called the sequence of return risk. And in my best-selling retirement planning books, I call this the triple whammy. Trust me on this. If you retire with money invested in the stock market, at some point in the future, you will fall victim to the triple whammy. The triple whammy is when you have an account that is not protected against losses and fees, and then you start taking distributions from it. If you start taking distributions from an account that you're paying an advisor fee on, and then you experience market losses, you will experience the triple whammy. That is distributions plus losses plus fees. You will go backwards so quickly in that account that it will make your head spin, and then you will realize, hey, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep taking distributions that I need to live on while paying an advisor a 1 to 3% fee while my account is dropping 15 to 20%. That will kill any retirement plan. We also talked about a game show earlier in the show. This contestant appeared on Deal or No Deal. She started off with no money and ended up with an offer as high as $284,000, and she had a choice. She could take the deal and walk away with that money, or she could keep rolling the dice, hoping for a higher return. She decided to press her luck, and she said no deal. And at the end of the day, she ended up with $5 in her pocket. She went from $284,000 all the way down to $5. You see, today, you have a very similar choice. You can do what it might feel like everyone else is doing. You can risk your money, put it in the stock market or any other variable type of account that doesn't protect your principal, and you can take your chances. You can swing for the fences like many people, and many people who swing for the fences end up striking out. And when you strike out with your retirement plan, you'll be the person greeting me at Walmart when I walk in to get my groceries. You see, no one plans to be a Walmart greeter, and no one plans to work until they're 80. That's something that's forced upon them later in life because of poor decisions they made earlier in life. Many of you probably do what you've been doing because you don't know there is a better way to protect your retirement money, a way that is 100% safe and secure. And this is exactly what I've taught thousands of people to do all across this great nation. You see, I teach people there is a much better way to save and plan for your retirement. You do not have to risk your retirement money. There is a way to grow your money without fees and without risks, and millions of people are doing this. I'm doing this. I've been doing this since the financial crisis of 2008, and I've been truly blessed to never lose one single penny of my own money. Keeping my money 100% safe is exactly why I'm completely financially independent, and I will have guaranteed lifetime income no matter how long I live. If this sounds interesting to you, then you need to give us a call at 866-780-7233. Well, I must take a short break. This is Brad Pistole, and you're listening to Safe Money Radio. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
Do you realize that even a minor recurring fee of 2% in your portfolio can cost you up to 1/3 of your retirement savings? If you're now paying a 2% fee, that can add up to 33% of your retirement savings lost to broker or management fees over about 30 years. Think about it. 33 cents of every dollar you've saved will be lost before you even enter into retirement. And it doesn't end there. That same 2% fee can cost you another 33% while you're in your retirement. So ask yourself, just whose retirement am I saving for? Stop financing someone else's retirement. Pick up the phone and call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistole, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. We've been on the air every single week since 2010, and during my shows, you will often hear me talk about Ed Slott, a CPA from New York. Now, there's a reason why I talk about him so much. You see, there's only one person in the world who has been referred to as America's IRA expert and the best source for IRA advice, and that person is Ed Slott. Over the years, I've had the honor of interviewing Ed on my show many times. I've also spoken at some of the same national conferences with Ed, and I've had the chance to interview him in person. You can watch these interviews on my website at www.guaranteedsafemoney.com, and you can call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. I am blessed to have Ed on the show as a guest again today, and we're going to be talking about the most important parts of your retirement plan that your advisor has probably never even discussed with you. Now, I've been good friends with Ed since 2010, and now I'm blessed to have my son, Hunter Pistole, an advisor on our team, join us as part of the Ed Slott Elite IRA Advisor Group. And this is what separates us from all of the other financial professionals in our area. Ed, thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, I talk about you on Safe Money Radio all the time, but if you would, please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and about why you do what you do.
Well, by trade, I'm a CPA, as you said, a tax advisor, which I've been for 40 years already. Believe it or not, I can't believe it myself. But it hit me early on, over 30 years ago, that it's not only income taxes, but it's the taxes on your retirement savings. It hit me that people are putting all their money in retirement savings. You know, most people that work or save for retirement save it through IRAs and 401ks at work, not realizing that all of this money will be taxed at some point when they pull the money out, and there was really no plan to work out the tax planning. Not only that, they were making all kinds of mistakes, moving money from an IRA to a plan or back and forth, not realizing all these intricate tax rules that apply. And what was happening as an accountant over the years, I started hearing all the war stories, but it was too late to fix anything. It was next year at tax time. Then they would come in and I would find myself in the trap that most accountants are still in today, telling the clients that, oh, you know what you should have done? Oh, if we only did this last year. Because let's face it, most accountants, sorry to say, are history teachers. They tell you what already happened. Nobody wants to hear about the mistakes they made last year. So it hit me, you know, the planning has to be done not reactively, telling people woulda, coulda, shoulda, but proactively. That's why they call it planning. If you're just talking about the past, you're not planning, you're giving a history lesson. So it hit me that there would be a big area for planning out the distributions of these retirement accounts, these 401ks and IRAs. Everybody was focused on putting money in, but you have to realize the reason you're putting money in is that one day in retirement, hopefully, you can pull that money out as tax efficiently as possible. And nobody had a plan for what I call the second half of the game. The first half is all the working, the saving, the building, the investing. Those 30, 40 years you built that account. But the second half is what I call the distribution phase, where that money has to come out. And nobody was prepared for that, and that is still the case today, except what's happened now, all of these balances from people doing all these savings have accumulated, have ballooned. People have some large IRAs or even smaller ones, and now they need specialized planning that not every advisor is capable of doing. So what I did is, you know, Brad, many years ago, over 15 years ago, I created a group we call Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group, of which both you and Ashok are members. And what that is, that's an advanced educational study group that I believe any financial advisor, and if you're listening to me and your advisor does not have this education, your IRA, your retirement savings, your 401k, your 403b is in jeopardy, because most financial advisors are still untrained at the second half of the game. Even if they're great and they make you lots of money, when it comes to retirement planning, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep after taxes. You can only keep what you can only spend what you keep after taxes. And the average advisor has no plan for that. And that's why I created the best study, the only study group in America, so I guess we're the best ones, the only high-level advanced educational program, Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. And if you go online to www.irahelp.com, and go to find an advisor, you'll find the very few advisors that have this training that you need them to have to protect your savings. Under Find an Advisor, you'll find advisors like Brad and Ashok and others all over the country. Most advisors are not trained in this, and that's dangerous as you're approaching retirement. They don't have, the average advisor does not have the specialized knowledge. So that's what we create in Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group, which is a small group. It's about 400 highly educated advisors that believe in investing in their education. So my philosophy is that if your advisor is not investing in education, you shouldn't be investing with them, because your money will be at risk. Not because they're not making you money. They may have made you plenty, but they could cost you on the way out when you need the money the most. When the paychecks stop and you're relying on keeping as much of that money as possible and making it last as long as possible. If you lose it to taxes, that money is never coming back. And many of these rules, these complex tax rules, are rigid and unforgiving. So you don't get a lot of second chances. So the kind of things advisors like Brad and Ashok get access to is all the case studies, the workshops, and all of these horror stories, so they don't happen to you. So they're well informed to spot problems before they even begin. And my philosophy really is to match consumers. This is what I've been doing for over 15 years now, with competent financial advisors, because as an accountant from the early days, I realized there was a void, and there still is. People weren't getting the correct information from their advisors. They were kind of on their own, and that's still the case today. So my mission is to match consumers with educated advisors that have specialized knowledge in the IRA and plan distribution area. When the money comes out, that's when you need to make sure you have the right plan to have more, keep more, and make it last.
Ed, thank you so much. I've been attending your training conferences since 2010, and I counted just the other day, I've been to more than 30 three-day training sessions with you, and that doesn't include all of our interviews and radio time together, the conferences we've spoken at, and I cannot imagine what my financial practice would be like if I had not been training under you since 2010. And I know Ashok's trained with you for many years, and of course now my son Hunter's part of the group, so we're so grateful. Now, friends, many of you probably know you've either seen Ed on PBS or you've listened to him online. Maybe you've seen him on CNBC or you've read his articles in the Wall Street Journal. But you know that in 2021, he wrote a book that immediately went to bestseller list again. And that book is The New Retirement Savings Time Bomb. And if you would like to read a copy of that book, I'll give you a copy absolutely free. My number is 866-780-7233. That's 866-780-SAFE. Just give us a call today and you can get a copy of the information that will change your life and your family's life forever. You see, you may not realize it, but your retirement accounts have tax tumors inside them. And if you don't remove them, they will kill your retirement savings. I am a safety and income specialist, highly trained under Ed Slott, and I will show you how to remove the tumors that are destroying your accounts. Call us anytime at 866-780-7233. Well, I must take a short break. This is Brad Pistole, and you're listening to Safe Money Radio. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
If you were born between 1946 and 1964, you are part of an unprecedented generation of 76 million Americans known as the baby boomers. Have you taken steps to secure your retirement future with options to limit the loss of your principal retirement funds from market risk while utilizing key tax advantages? Why not ease the burden of transfer of funds to your heirs and insulate your money from the shocks of an increasingly volatile world economy? Give yourself and your family peace of mind and certainty that your retirement funds may have the opportunity to accumulate without the risk of market loss. So call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. It's time to start being safe. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistole, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. Today we have a very special guest with us, Ed Slott, America's IRA expert. Ed is a CPA, and there is no one on the planet who knows taxes and retirement account laws better than Ed. Ed, before we get back into a couple of questions today, I want to share something with our listeners. I think it'll get their attention. Because, you see, I've talked to literally tens of thousands of retirees from all across the country since I started hosting Safe Money Radio way back in 2010. And because of this, I know for a fact that most advisors are not talking to their clients about the things that will affect them in retirement the most. Most financial professionals are focused on what they are trying to sell to their clients. You know, things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, or life insurance. They're so focused on getting their clients' money into their accounts that they fail to focus on how to get the money back out of the accounts in the most tax-efficient manner. And this is what matters the most. So just listen to this. If you spent $1 million a day, it would take you more than 3,000 years to hit the $1 trillion mark. Now think about that for a minute. Spending $1 million a day takes 3,000 years to hit the $1 trillion mark. And our current national debt just hit $30 trillion. So in other words, If you spent $1 million a day, it would take you 90,000 years to reach the $30 trillion mark. Now hold on to your hats. We are currently spending $1 billion a day in interest alone on our $30 trillion national debt. Do you see the problem here? And do you see why taxes will be the biggest issue you face in your retirement? Not how much of a return you're getting or what kind of stock, bond, or mutual fund you own. Ed, now I know you have been on PBS for many, many years. You've had more than 5 shows on PBS regarding taxes and retirement planning, and I know you have a new show that's about to air in 2022. But in your most recent show that's been airing for the past few years, Retire Safe and Secure, you talk a lot about taxes and what a vital role they will play in retirement. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Here's an always rule I use on my PBS show, and you should all watch the PBS show where I do a whole segment on life insurance. That's the show Brad was referring to called Retire Safe and Secure with Ed Slott. It's on all the PBS stations all over the country. Watch that. Ashok is right. I'm an educator. I'm a tax advisor. I don't sell stocks, bonds, funds, insurance, annuities. I don't sell any of that. I'm an educator and a tax advisor. But as a tax advisor, I have to tell you that most people don't understand that the single biggest benefit in the tax code is the tax exemption for life insurance. I'm not talking about term. I'm talking about whole life with cash value, money that can be used as a tax-free savings account in retirement. There are lifetime benefits that people are just not told about. And in an environment of rising tax rates, which is where I believe we're headed, anything tax-free will instantly be worth more. It takes the risk and the worry about what future higher taxes will do to your standard of living in retirement. The idea is, and I'll use one of my catchphrases from all my shows, is to move your money from accounts that are forever taxed to accounts that are never taxed. Tax-free is always better. You keep more of your hard-earned money, and you can do that with life insurance.
And that's exactly why in my first best-selling book, Safe Money Matters, I wrote an entire chapter on tax-free beats taxable every day of the week. And there's a reason why I own 10 life insurance policies as a part of my own retirement plan. So Ed, thank you for that. Now friends, in 2021, I wrote a new book because I knew the pandemic and the worldwide events that we were facing as a result of the pandemic would change our world forever. We are certainly watching these changes continue to happen every single day. I mean, you just cannot make up the stuff that's happening right now. The title of my new book is Bulletproof: The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and Ed Slott wrote the foreword for this book. My book will show you how to protect 100% of your life savings from all of the ups and downs of the stock market. And it will show you how to generate lifetime income streams that are contractually guaranteed to last the rest of your life, no matter how long you live and no matter what is happening in the world around you. This is what will give you peace of mind in retirement. You see, you will never have to worry about running out of money, and I will show you exactly how to deal with the taxes that will destroy your accounts if you don't deal with them correctly. Now, if you would like a copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, just call anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. This is Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I'll be right back after this informative message.
Are you age 59 and a half or older and still working? Did you know that you may be able to move some or all of your retirement money to an individual retirement account without any taxes? Why keep your money in your employer's plan with management fees, exposure to significant market risk, and limited options for guaranteed lifetime income that you can't outlive? What will happen to your plan at work if the market crashes? Call Brad Pistole now for retirement planning that will protect what you've worked so hard for and create a retirement that is safe and secure. Call 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back. I'm Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I am a capital preservation and strategic income planning specialist working with clients right here in Springfield and Ozark, Missouri. Today, we've been blessed to have America's IRA expert and CPA Ed Slott with us on the show. Ed, as we start to come to a close today, I want to ask you something that I know is on the minds of our listeners. There is so much conflicting information that consumers hear these days regarding 401ks, IRAs, and retirement planning. You know, depending on what hour of the day you turn on the TV or the radio, you could hear two highly respected people say completely opposite things. One might say, for instance, annuities are terrible. And then the next person, like myself, might say annuities are a vital part of any successful retirement income plan. In fact, I own 6 of them. But which person should you listen to? And then one person might say, life insurance is one of the worst investments you could ever own. You should put your money in a good mutual fund or into your 401k. And then someone like you, Ed, just told our listeners in our previous segment that life insurance is the single greatest benefit in the tax code. And you are America's IRA expert. So how in the world would our listeners know who to trust? That is such a confusing thing. Could you talk about that for a minute?
Oh, I'm so glad. I was going to, you read my mind. I was going to close the program with that. If you're out there listening and you have saved in a retirement account, that's your life savings. To me, that is sacred money. And the only advisor you should use is an educated advisor. Now, how do you know if your advisor is educated? Well, you can ask them if they're a member of a study group like this. That's one thing. But the biggest problem I find with most financial advisors out there is that they're dangerous. Not that they're bad people. They don't know that they don't know. That's horrible. You know, they don't know that they may be making a retirement account ending error because they don't know that they don't know. I'm not saying that our advisors know everything, but they know what they don't know. They know to ask, and they have us and our experts as a back office, which is critical. So they know to ask. I think that's the beginning, or that's the essential foundation of education and knowledge. Knowing to ask. Being able to recognize, have your antennas up on things that need to be questioned, whereas the average advisor doesn't know to question because they don't know that they don't know. To me, that tells me if that's your advisor, your retirement savings are in grave risk.
Ed, I'm so grateful to be a part of the training team, and there's not one single week that goes by that I don't email or call in and talk to Sarah or Andy or Ian, because there are questions we come across every day that we just don't know the answer to. But I do know this: if I don't know the answer, I know exactly who does know the answer. And being able to text you or call you or email Sarah or Andy or Ian, anyone on the Ed Slott team, you're going to get book, chapter, and verse for what needs to be done regarding 401ks and IRAs and special tax rules regarding tax accounts. So, Ed, thank you so much for making it your life's mission to educate the public with the most important things that they will need to know regarding taxes and how to protect their life savings. I want to thank you for talking to our listeners today, and I just want to say what an honor it is for Hunter and I to sit at your feet as part of the Ed Slott Elite IRA Advisor Training Group. I've been studying under you since 2010, and I can't thank you enough, and our clients thank you. See, what I've learned from you has saved our clients millions of dollars in unnecessary taxes, fees, and heartache. And our clients' beneficiaries thank you. They don't even know, but they are the ones who will benefit from this the most, because the things that our clients put into place are going to save the beneficiaries millions of dollars in taxes in the future. So, Ed, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm proud to be with both of you, and I want us all to spread the message because it's in everyone's best interest. And I'm talking about the people listening that worked hard for their money to have more, keep more, and make it last. And that can only be done when you're talking about IRAs and 401ks and complicated tax rules with an advisor that has specialized knowledge and education in this area. Most don't. It's imperative that you work with an advisor that has that knowledge and is continually investing in their education.
Friends, in 2021, I wrote my second best-selling book because I knew the pandemic and the worldwide events that we were facing as a result of the pandemic would change our world forever. We are certainly watching these changes continue to happen every single day. I mean, you just can't make up the stuff that's going on right now in our world. The title of my new best-selling book is Bulletproof: The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. And America's IRA expert, Ed Slott, wrote the foreword for the new book. My book will show you how to protect 100% of your life savings from all of the ups and downs of the stock market. And it will show you how to generate lifetime income streams that are contractually guaranteed to last the rest of your life, no matter how long you live and no matter what is happening in the world around you. This is what will give you peace of mind in retirement. You will never have to worry about running out of money, and I will show you exactly how to deal with the taxes that will destroy your retirement accounts if you don't deal with them correctly. So if you would like a copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, just call anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. I've been training under Ed Slott since 2010, and I will show you how to remove the tax tumors that are destroying your accounts. Call us at 866-780-7233 and ask for our free information. Well, that's about all the time I have for Safe Money Radio this week. But before I go, I want you to know that I sleep at night knowing that my clients have retirement plans that remove the stress of market loss from the money they depend on for retirement. And I want you to sleep well at night too. Until next time and at the same time, I'm Brad Pistole, reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
You've been listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your hard-earned money is safe while avoiding market loss so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call Brad Pistole now for your complimentary Safe Money book and Safe Money information kit at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base annuity contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or a death benefit unless specified in the annuity contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Listeners should be aware of IRS penalties for withdrawing funds from an annuity before age 59 and a half. Fees may apply. Annuity guarantees are based on the insurance company's financial strength and claims-paying ability. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you are taking just the first step towards protecting your retirement. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.